ESIC unbanned a player involved in match fixing. Donk could have joined Navi Jr. Fnatic betrayed their own player, and the results of Stage 2 and the first playoff matches of ESL Pro League Season 22. Hello there friends, this is CS2 News Hub. Without further ado, let's get straight to it. Let's dive into today's episode with the roster changes, and surprise, Gr1ks are at it again. It seems that they just can't seem to go more than a few weeks without swapping someone out. This time it's their Opper. For the upcoming CS Asia Championship, Alcaran, who they bought from Team Spirit, won't be playing, and instead he's been replaced by Hades. The reason's pretty simple: visa issues, so the team had to find a quick stand-in. What's funny is that this will already be the third team Hades plays for as a stand-in this year. Before this, he was in G2 and Apogee, helping the teams. For now, there is no word yet on whether this is a one-time replacement or something more permanent, but either way, good luck to Gr1ks. It's also worth noting that there have been rumors for a while that Gr1ks might be looking to sign Phzy and Rain, so maybe, just maybe, this whole situation is a quiet hint that Alcaran could soon be headed to the bench. You know, especially since there is an open spot right now, because, yeah, the rumors turned out to be true, and Gr1ks have officially joined BIG. And as Gr1ks themselves stated, Gr1ks decided to downgrade. But I guess the time will tell. More on the roster changes, we just can't skip over what might be one of the most brutal betrayals of the season, coming straight from Fnatic. They officially benched Cypher just 3 days after qualifying for the major, and replacing him will be none other than Gr1ks. And the funniest or the saddest part, you guys decide. Just a couple of days ago before that, Cypher himself said in an interview that Gr1ks was a really talented player who just needed the right team to shine. Little did he know, right? Turns out that this team ended up being Fnatic, the same team that kicked him out to make room. Well, what about irony, guys? It's at its finest. After this situation, even Thorin chimed in, saying that there should be rules preventing teams from making last-minute roster swaps like this. But since Valve aren't getting involved, Fnatic are totally in the clear. You know, because the core of the players with VRS points stays. All we can really do is to feel sorry for Cypher. Hopefully he'd realize what kind of org Fnatic really are. If I got it correctly, at least he will get the sticker money, so there's some silver lining. But before we move on to the next news, let me tell you about our great friends from CS:GO Fast. It is the oldest and most trusted website in the history of CS skin games. Feel like Gabe install all your luck in CS? On CS:GO Fast you can open tons of profitable cases and finally pull out the dream skin you've always wanted. They've got a huge variety of games, including intense case battles. You can even invite a friend to try to come out on top together. My favorite mode is Upgrade, where you can always turn your skins into something extremely rare. Here you can deposit your skins instantly. Yes, even after the recent CS2 update. If you're a true CS veteran, you already know the community has trusted CS:GO Fast for years. That's why they have a loyalty system for regular users and a ranking system with the extra bonuses. And do I even need to mention their skin prices or insanely huge market? You already know it's awesome. Oh, if you don't want to deposit, no problem. You can always use the referral system to earn points. Use our promo code CS2 News Hub to get plus 10% to your deposit and a free case. The link will be in the pinned comment. Alright, if that whole Fnatic situation was at least somewhat forgivable, then what happened next is just straight up madness. ESIC officially unbanned a player who was literally caught match fixing. Guess the reason, guys? He basically ratted out everyone else who was doing the same thing. Yeah, today ESIC announced that Gokushima is no longer banned because he helped them identify other shady players involved in match fixing. As a result, Problay, Ruler, Zlee, and Damiel have now been permanently banned instead. On top of that, the entire roster of Sansa, also known as Rosie, along with their coach and staff, have been suspended from all tournaments. This came after an ongoing investigation revealed that the team had likely been using cheats games as well. So hey, it finally looks like ESIC are actually doing their job properly for once, which is good news. But now the big question is, who's gonna want to play with Gr1ks after this? His reputation is cooked, man. I mean, the guy literally made $400,000 off match fixing and then snitched to get out of it. I mean, he still did the match fixing. He's still the guy. Not exactly the best resume material, but he's rich and he's clear, I guess. And just to make it even funnier, a few hours after Gr1ks unban, he got banned again on FACEIT for ban evasion. So yeah, I guess his CS2 career is over. Meanwhile, Rain is slowly but surely figuring out where he wants to go next. According to the Norwegian guy himself, he has already got a few solid offers on the table and could announce his new team in next couple of weeks. For now, he's still playing for FaZe at EPL as a stand-in, but it's pretty clear he won't be staying there for long. Among the possible options are Heroic, and we told you about that just a couple of minutes ago, and BCG, where there's conveniently an open slot after Prime Tabs was benched. And you know, Simple would definitely like to play with Rain. Or maybe there's another option, maybe a full-fledged return to Tier 1 with some fresh project. But for now, let's just wait and see where the veteran will end up. Knowing Rain, wherever he lands, it's gonna be interesting. Though honestly, we might have found an even better fit for Rain in Navi. Yeah, you heard it right. Sure, the org said before that they're not exactly looking to pick up older players, but what if they just ran out of options? Recently, Blade himself admitted that right now it's really tough for Navi to compete at the highest level because, well, they simply don't have any star players anymore. Without those big personalities and world-class aimers, it's hard to walk into tournaments with that "we're here to win it all" mindset. Back when they had Simple, everyone expected them to leave trophies and people were scared of them, and for good reason. They had the best player in the world, but now, sure, they've got a bunch of promising young guns with solid potential, but there's no true superstar to carry the Navi banner. The team looks shaky, the results are bad to be honest, and they're constantly dropping off in last places. So maybe Rain, with so much experience in his hands, could be the missing piece. He's calm, experienced, and he can literally play any role you throw at him. And who knows, maybe it's exactly the kind of stability and leadership Navi need to get back to their former glory. Speaking of not as Vincere, did you know that Donk could have actually played for Navi Junior? And not just recently, we're talking like back in early 2023. According to Blade himself, the org was seriously considering signing him even before the war began. Donk was apparently ready to put the pen to paper, but well, global events forced Navi to drop the idea. Just imagine for a second how insane Navi would look right now if Donk had joined their system back then. According to Blade, Navi Junior isn't just some academy where kids grind aim maps for fun. It's a direct springboard into the main roster. Donk wasn't supposed to be the end goal, he was supposed to be the next step. And with his talent, he almost certainly would have made it to the main lineup. Navi were even ready to pay a pretty hefty buyout for Donk. So yeah, if things had gone differently, we could have easily be talking about a Navi lineup that rivals Vitality or even Falcons today, not Team Spirit. But hey, whatever happens, happens. Maybe if that transfer had gone through, Donk wouldn't have become the major champion we know today. Who knows? Who knows? Now, wrapping up with that Blade interview, we of course couldn't skip over the topic of Simple. According to Blade, Sasha's stats look solid right now, but the next step is clear. It's time for him to get back to LANs. With how the current VRS system works, winning LAN events gives you way more points than online ones. So for Blade, the logic is pretty clear. If BCG really want to climb the rankings, they have to start showing up at offline tournaments. Plus, it will boost Simple's confidence again, and we all know that a confident Sasha is basically a walking nuke. Guys, in a good way. He also mentioned that LANs and online matches are completely different worlds. The pressure, the atmosphere, the crowd, it all hits differently. And there's one extra bonus. At LANs, there are way fewer magically talented opponents with suspicious crosshair movements. Alright, now let's move on to the EPL and its results. First, let's quickly go over the final day of Stage 2 and then jump into the playoff matches. So, starting with the decisive match, Navi unexpectedly managed to beat the Mongols. Lately, the Mongols have been in terrible form, to be honest, repeating their worst result of the year. They haven't finished below 9th, 11th place before, but now they're officially out of playoffs. Like, for the first time in 5 months. As for the match itself, on Nuke, Navi just destroyed them 13-3 and then took Ancient as well. Yeah, with overtimes, but still came out on top. Next up were G2 versus 3D and as it turned out, the French team was stronger. 13-11 on Inferno and then 13-6 on Dust. Nice try from G2, but it's pretty obvious that they need to change something, or simply to be better. The closing match of Stage 2 was Aurora versus FaZe. On the first map, the Turks lost 13-8 because FaZe clan only dropped 1 round in the second half. Then Aurora easily took their own pick, 13-2, it was on Train. Going into Dust 2, the decider, it looked like they were going to take it again. You know, they confidently started it at 7-3. You know, especially after Jota pulled off an insane clutch on B. But things started slipping, the game evened out, and in the end, FaZe clan came out stronger, 13-10. Frozen basically soloed the final B push. Later, Centaurus revealed that he was extremely sick since arriving in Sweden. Couldn't feel his hands or legs, he lost his voice, and his throat was swollen. He really gave it everything he had, but it just wasn't enough. Still, his round swing on Train was almost 15%. Just for context, anything around 8% is already considered amazing for a player on a single map, so you can guess that 15% is just unreal, and he was sick. Now moving to the playoffs, first up were Falcons versus 3D. It started on Inferno, the French pick, and from the very beginning they showed why they chose it. 5-1, then 7-3, then 10-4. Here, Falcons finally woke up a little, with m0NESY and TaSys clutching 2v4, but obviously it wasn't enough, so 13-9 was the final score. On the second map, the tables turned, and it was 9-3 in the first half, and even though 3D tried to come back, they couldn't manage. 13-7, so it all came down to Nuke. And, well, Falcons just demolished 3D on T side early on, 6-1, but then, somehow, the French managed to tie it up to 12-12. Looked like Falcons were about to choke again, like in the previous playoffs, but no, 16-13 in the end, and 3D go home, but it was really close. Next up were Navi versus Mouse. It started with a knife frag from Ime in the first round, but actually hyped up Navi. They finished the first half 8-4, but in the second half, Sertion clutched a 1v3 and Mouse began to dominate. They tied it to 12-12, then pushed it into overtimes, but unfortunately there, Mouse slipped, so Navi took the map. On the second map, Mouse took complete control. Yeah, I know, the first half ended even, but after the side switch, they just took 6 straight rounds and won their map 13-7. The decider was Train, and Mouse absolutely crushed Navi. 13-4 the final score. Navi dropped out. Then came probably the most unexpected match of the entire playoffs, because it was FaZe versus Team Spirit. Everyone thought that Spirit would quickly send the old guard home, but FaZe had other plans. They started strong, 6-2. Spirit tried to fight back, but on the first map they couldn't, 13-9 in favor of FaZe. Then, on Mirage, it was even worse for Spirit. At one point the score was 10-2, and they couldn't come back, 13-5 the final score, 2-0 in the series, and Spirit drop out. Last dance for FaZe keeps going. And the final match was Furia versus Vitality. It started on Overpass, where Molodoi won a 1v2 clutch in round 4, and it was awesome, which helped his team stabilize. They finished the first half just slightly behind, but that was on T side. round. After switching, they locked it down and won 13-9. Then on Inferno, things fell apart for Furia. On round 4, Apex sniped Molodoi, and after the side switch, Vitality gave up only one round. The decider was Nuke, and right from the start, Rops zapped someone with a Zeus, which totally tilted Furia. Soon it was 10-3, then 12-5, and although they tried to fight back, it just wasn't enough. 13-7 in the end, Vitality move on while Furia drops out. So the next matches are faze against Vitality and Falcons versus Mouse. And that's all for today, my friends. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button to follow our channel and drop by in the comments below. I'm not saying goodbye for a long time. See you soon.